Today I'm talking about the Zildjian Gen16 and L80 line of cymbals. That's coming up. What's up guys, Justin Greenwald here, welcome to 65 Drums. This is the place to keep on top of all things EDRUM related, so consider subscribing if you haven't yet. So these are two really interesting product lines from Zildjian. Like no other cymbal manufacturer is making a product like this. This is very unique. Let me talk about the L80s first. I've played both of these in different variations. So the L80s are basically acoustic cymbals with hundreds of holes drilled into it. The holes are small enough so they don't snag on the tip of your drumstick, but there are enough of these holes that it lowers the entire cymbal volume anywhere from 50 up to 80%, thus the name low volume 80. These cymbals are incredibly fun to play. Gotta say that, they're just so fun to play. If you're used to playing rubber cymbals and you don't like the feel of them, these are a really good alternative, and they're incredibly quiet. Like they're not quite as quiet as a rubber cymbal pad, kinda sorta in the same ballpark. When you hit the cymbal for the first time, you're blown away by how quiet these things are. The first thing you'll probably do is hack away at it to see how loud you can make the cymbal get. And it never gets very loud just because of all those holes that they drilled into these cymbals. Now as far as color scheme goes, versus like the Gen16 line of cymbals, these ones look kind of sort of meh. It doesn't look quite as nice as the Gen16s, but there are advantages of having the L80s instead, and I'll get to that in a second. One really cool thing that drummers are doing is turning these L80s into electronic cymbals. So what they'll do is they'll go buy something like this $20 Simmons piezo. You got the sensor right here, you got the female 1/4 inch out right here. You plug your cable into that, you secure this underneath the cymbal, and the cable plugs into your drum module, and now you're triggering cymbal sounds. Now, of course, with this sort of setup, it's going to be a 1-zone. If you fill around and use multiple piezos, you could probably get a 2, and if you're really clever, maybe get a 3-zone ride cymbal working. There are drummers that are having really good luck with this entire system. Now, I'm gonna be leaving links to a lot of different examples and articles in the description of this video, so go check that out after you're done watching. Another use of these cymbals is for drummers that don't wanna go the electronic drum route. They just wanna have a really quiet, acoustic sounding practice. So what they can do is they can buy a whole set of these L80s. They come in cymbal packs if you want. And then they can buy a set of black hole mesh. These things go on top of your acoustic drums. They'll add about an inch to the height of all your drums, so you might have to adjust them a little bit. But you still get that resonance. In effect, you get an acoustic sounding drum set, and then if you pair that with some Zildjian L80s, that's a really, really nice low volume practice set for die-hard acoustic drummers that don't want to have anything to do with electronic drums. Okay, so that's the L80s. Let's talk about the Gen16 cymbals. The reason why I start off talking about the L80s is because the Gen16 cymbals are basically the exact same thing. The only difference is the look and the fact that they have a little microphone underneath the bell of every cymbal. The microphones all plug into a cymbal controller unit. Now you can use the cymbal controller unit to tweak how the cymbals sound. You can make them sound darker or brighter. There's a bunch of different sound templates you have control of inside that cymbal processor. And then you can use that to go straight to a set of PAs, or you can plug it into the mix input of your electronic drum set if you're gonna pair this with one of those sets. I know Yamaha was doing a lot of drum sets with Zildjian for a little bit. Now, I gotta mention there are two versions of the Gen16s. There's the silver ones, and then there's the newer bronzed ones. The silver ones are the original version. They sound a little bit different from the newer bronzed ones. I remember hearing the silver ones live at a church once. They paired it with a Roland TD15 KV. The TD15 KV just sounded so good, and then these terrible sounding cymbals were on the drum set. The silver cymbals have a higher pitch and a shorter resonance than the newer bronzed cymbals. Unfortunately, those cymbals just sounded pretty bad. It actually made me cringe the entire church service because of how bad these cymbals sounded. Especially the hi-hats, just piercingly high. The cymbal sounds inside of the Roland TD15 were so much better, and I wish that they were just using the rubber cymbals with that setup. Now the newer bronze cymbals do have a lower pitch and a longer sustain to them, so they are a nicer sounding set of cymbals. The looks and the playability are the two major selling points for these cymbals. They're incredibly fun to play, and they look incredible on stage. People will mistake them for regular acoustic cymbals, especially the bronzed ones. If you want to hear a really good sound comparison video of the silver ones and the bronzed ones, I'll leave a link in the description below to a great video from Digital Drummer. Neither of these cymbals are incredible sounding. Like, you're much better off using the cymbal sounds inside of your drum module, as long as the drum module is a decent sounding drum module. Okay, let's talk about prices here for a second. They are wildly different from each other. Let's compare a 20-inch ride cymbal. A Gen 16 20-inch ride is $270. An L80 ride cymbal, exactly the same size, 20 inches, is only $150. That's around the price of like a Sabian B8 cymbal. It gets even crazier when you look at complete sets of cymbals. So if you look at a Gen 16 set of 13-inch hi-hats, 16 crash, 18-inch ride cymbal, that's $900. If you look at an L80 set, 14-inch cymbals, 16-inch crash, 18-inch ride cymbal, that's $300. So you have to pay an extra $600 to get those Gen 16 cymbals. And what are you getting for the Gen 16s? You're getting a much nicer looking cymbal. You're getting the little microphones and the cymbal processing unit, and that costs you an extra $600. Is that really worth it? You know, it's really up to you. Now, I've got to say, microphones cost something. Cymbal processing units cost something. Like, it isn't free for Zildjian to make all those things. They got to increase the price to compensate themselves for putting in all that extra material. But I feel like $900 is a really, really steep price just for me. I mean, it might be fair because of everything they're including and the fact that it is a really innovative product. But for me, they just don't sound good enough for me to want to run out and buy them. And also they're louder than rubber cymbals, and I'm going for that quiet setup with my electronic drum set behind me. That's what you'll have to decide on if you want to buy any of these cymbals. Of the two setups, I would rather buy the L80s. They're a little bit cheaper, and if you really want to, you can go buy those cymbal microphones separately and the cymbal processing unit and save a few bucks. In fact, some people have already done just that. Drummers have been asking me about the Zildjian Gen 16s and the L80s before, so I wanted to make a dedicated video. And then actually I was at a music store and I was playing these again for like the 4th or 5th time. Do any of you guys actually use these in your drum setups? Let me know down in the comments below. Of the two, I'd rather buy the L80s and convert them into electronic cymbals. That's just what I would do. I will have to say though, those Gen 16s look incredible, and all the other cymbal options that are available that aren't available on the L80s also tempt me to want to have a set of those as well. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to see more, I've got tons of other videos like this. Subscribe. See you in a few.